बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम फ्रेंड्स, उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप सब खैरियत से होंगे। फ्रेंड्स, आज के सेशन में हम डिस्कस करेंगे व्हाट आर द बेस्ट 4 कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट। वीडियो की तरफ बढ़ने से पहले हमारी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दें। चलिए आज के सेशन की तरफ बढ़ते हैं। द बेस्ट 4 कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट आर पीपल, प्रोसेस, कंटेंट और IT and strategy. Regardless of this industry, size, or knowledge needs of your organization, you always need people to lead, sponsor, and support the knowledge sharing. You need defined processes to manage and measure the knowledge flow. You need knowledge content and IT tools that connect the right people to the right content at the right time. And finally, you need a clear and documented strategy for using KM to meet the most important and urgent needs of the business. Through over 2 decades of the search of KM, APQC has found that these are the key ingredients to build and grow a sustainable KM program. Let's dig a little deeper into each component. Here are people. You have probably heard the phrase people, process, and technology. Since at least the early 1990s, organizational leaders have used this paradigm, often referred to as also the golden triangle, to guide initiatives and lead organizational changes. The idea is if you over focus on one factor, your initiative is bound to fail, and the other is important. You need to get the right people involved before you get into processes and technology. When you are starting a KM program, you need two kinds of the people. Number one, senior leaders, and number two, cross-functional stakeholders. Senior leaders are here to provide this sponsorship and insight into the broader organizational strategy, and cross-functional stakeholders to guide the implementation. Senior sponsors should be visible, engaged business leaders who have something big to gain from the implementation of KM. Often they are people who lead the business areas with major urgent knowledge needs. For example, experts are retiring, new hires cannot get up to speed quickly. In selecting cross-functional stakeholders, look first to your colleagues in HR, IT, and process improvement. APQC research shows the collaborating with these functions improves the effectiveness. As the KM effort matures, most organizations staff up a KM core team. Identify KM champions and facilitators across the business and establish as an executive steering committee to provide the ongoing stewardship. If you think they sound like a lot of the people, you are right. You need engaged people at the different levels and in different areas of the business to really build knowledge sharing into the culture. But that doesn't mean you have to spend a ton of the money or take away too much time for folks, especially if your processes are smart, your content and IT infrastructure is not cumbersome, and your strategy is compelling. Here is number two, process. In organizations with strong KM processes, knowledge flows like a city water supply. When someone needs it, they just turn the tap. The KM team, like a city planner, knows how everybody flows beneath the surface. They can identify the bottlenecks, reroute flows, and measure the inputs and outputs. But the end user doesn't need to understand how all that stuff works. For them, getting the knowledge they need is simple and easy. APQC has identified a standard knowledge flow process that describes how knowledge flows through the organizations. It is a 7-step cycle. Number one, create new knowledge. This happens every day, all the time, across all areas of the business. Number two, identify the knowledge that is critical to the strategy and operations. Number three, collect the knowledge so it can be shared with others. Number four, review knowledge to evaluate its relevancy, accuracy, and efficacy. Number five, share knowledge through the documentation, informal posts, and collaborative activities. Number 6, across access the knowledge through pull, for example, search and push, for example, alerts mechanism. Number 7, use knowledge to solve problems faster and make more informed decisions. So, for KM teams, the key is to identify ways to build these steps into the business processes people already use every day. So फ्रेंड्स, ये था हमारा आज का सेशन। होप्स आपको पसंद आया होगा। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। हमें दीजिए इजाज़त। अल्लाह हाफिज़।